The Dome of the Rock was built on the rock from where it is believed that Muhammad ascended to the heavens. With its unique decorations and gold leaf dome, the Dome of the Rock was illustrative of Islam's sense of art and civilization. Europe, on the other hand, was ruled at that time by dogma and barbarism. The Catholic Church oppressed the Jews and even Christians belonging to the other churches. Forced change of religion, torture and execution in the name of religion were common practice in the West. The Muslims, on the other hand, always treated the people of the book, that is, Jews and Christians, with tolerance and compassion, as God commanded them in the Quran. The Church of St. John in Damascus in Syria is an example of this. The Muslims who conquered the area began to perform their Friday prayers at that church, but it still belonged to the Christians who attended Mass on Sundays. The members of the two religions shared the same place of worship in peace. As the number of Muslims increased in the city, the Muslim authorities bought the church with the consent of the Christian community. They built a mosque beside the church, and the decorations of its courtyard were enriched with Islamic motifs. Stunning examples of early Islamic art were built on the columns inherited from Byzantium. The Muslims' tolerance towards Jews and Christians continued throughout the history of Islam. Jews fleeing the tyranny of the Inquisition in Spain found refuge and tolerance in Ottoman lands. The source of Islam's tolerance towards Jews and Christians is the morality of the Quran. God commanded the Muslims to treat the people of the book well. Only argue with the people of the book in the kindest way, except in the case of those of them who do wrong, saying, "We believe in what has been sent down to us and what was sent down to you. Our God and your God are one, and we submit to Him." One of the illuminating qualities brought to humanity by Islam was scientific thought. The pre-Islamic Arab and Middle Eastern societies were not concerned with questions about the universe, how nature came into existence, and how it worked. They learned to reflect on these questions and to seek their answers from the Quran. In the Quran, God commands humanity to explore how the heavens and earth came to be. This mindset powered the rise of science in Islamic civilization. This was a unique scientific development in the history of the world. Baghdad became the scientific capital of the Empire of Islam, as well as being its administrative capital. Scientists, philosophers, and researchers flocked to Baghdad from the four corners of the Islamic world and met in the famous House of Wisdom there in order to unravel the mysteries of the universe which God had created. This awareness of Muslim scientists, which derive from the Quran, gave rise to the greatest advancements of science, quite unlike anything seen before. Another quality taught to Muslims by the Quran is open-mindedness, which enabled them to examine other civilizations' scientific knowledge without prejudice. Muslim works contained a considerable amount of research, observation, experiments, and calculations. The decimal system used all over the world today was developed by Muslim mathematicians. Muslim scientists attached great importance to astronomical observation. Modern astronomy was to develop from their systems. Muslim scientists also calculated the moon's orbit around the Earth and recorded mathematical formulae. Algebra and trigonometry are the inventions of Muslim mathematicians. The stunning works of architecture in the four corners of the Islamic world were made possible by the scientific infrastructure. Some of the most striking achievements of the Muslims were in the field of medicine, at a time when the Europeans considered illnesses to be caused by evil spirits. Treatment was not a word to be found in the vocabulary of the European mind. Muslim scientists, on the other hand, concluded after much research that illnesses were caused by creatures which were too small to be seen, and that patients must be treated in isolation from the healthy population. Thus, the world's first modern hospitals were founded. The patients were kept and treated by scientific methods in separate wards, according to the type of illnesses they suffered from. Patients suffering from mental illness received music therapy, at a time when in Europe the mentally ill were considered to be the servants of Satan and burned alive. Muslim physicians' observation of the human anatomy was so accurate as to lead them to be used as textbooks in European medical schools for over 6 centuries.
Drunken threats about what he would do to the fellow when he woke up in the morning and then fell fast asleep again.
A documentary about the world of Islam, prepared for the BBC by the commentator Terry Jones, says the following on the high scientific standards of Islam.
Stabbed him all over in a frenzied attack. One philosopher from the town of Haran, for example, had already correctly calculated the distance from the Earth to the Moon, while another had suggested that if you could divide the atom, you would release enough power to destroy a city the size of Baghdad. In this medical school, built here in Damascus in 1154, doctors were already teaching anatomy, preventive medicine, hygiene, surgery, the circulation